You think she doesn't like you? Listen closely. You think she's not interested. You think you read the signs correctly. You think distance means disinterest. You think silence means she's moved on. But what if I told you you're reading the signals completely wrong? What if I told you she's been thinking about you far more than you realize? And here's the part that's going to sound crazy at first. The colder she acts, the more obsessed she might actually be. Stay with me, because this is where it gets wild. Most men miss these signs entirely. They give up at the exact moment her emotions are intensifying. They walk away right when her brain is working overtime trying to figure them out. They disappear just as she starts replaying conversations, rereading messages, and wondering why you affect her the way you do. And there's one specific sign men almost always overlook. One sign that reveals everything. When I tell you what it is, you're going to replay every interaction you've had with her. You're going to notice patterns you completely missed. You're going to realize that what you thought was rejection was actually internal conflict. Today, I'm going to show you the hidden signals that reveal she's thinking about you constantly, even when she acts like she doesn't care, even when she seems cold, even when she feels distant, even when every surface level sign says she's not interested. And here's what nobody tells you. There's a psychological phenomenon that happens in a woman's mind when she's attracted to someone but trying to hide it. And once you understand this, you'll never misread her signals again. But first, we need to talk about the biggest mistake you're probably making right now. The one that causes confusion, self-doubt, and emotional whiplash. The reason everything you think you know feels backwards. Picture this. She takes hours to text back. When you run into her, she seems casual, almost too casual. She doesn't initiate conversations anymore, and when you're together, she treats you like you're just another person in her day. So naturally, you start questioning everything. Maybe I read this wrong. Maybe she was never interested. Maybe I should just move on. But here's what's actually happening, and this is the part that flips everything you thought you knew. When a woman is deeply attracted to you, her brain can enter a state psychologists call defensive avoidance. It sounds fake. It sounds contradictory. But stay with me because this explains hot and cold behavior better than anything else. Here's what you need to understand. Women don't show interest the way men do. When a man is interested, he pursues. He closes distance. He makes his intentions obvious. But when a woman is deeply attracted, when she's thinking about you nonstop, she often does the opposite. She creates distance. She pulls back. Pulls. She tests you. She watches how you respond when she withdraws. Why? Because attraction for women comes bundled with fear. Fear of rejection. Fear of looking too eager. Fear of losing emotional control. Fear of giving someone power over her feelings. So her mind does something counterintuitive. It tells her to protect herself by acting indifferent. And here's the part most men don't realize. The more she thinks about you, the more she may act like she doesn't. Because overthinking is emotional attachment. Thinking about you makes her vulnerable. It threatens her emotional safety. So her defense mechanism is to create emotional distance on the outside, while privately obsessing on the inside. And this is where it gets interesting, because there are 7 unmistakable signs that expose this internal conflict. And sign number 4, when you see it, there is zero doubt she's emotionally hooked. I'll get to that in a moment. First, let me show you the patterns that reveal what's really happening in her head, the hidden signals, the behaviors most men misinterpret. Before we go deeper, do one thing for me. If this is already making you think about someone specific, hit the like button right now. It tells the algorithm to show this to men who actually need it, and it helps the channel grow. And make sure you subscribe, because we break down psychology like this every single week. Now let's continue. Sign number 1, she watches you when she thinks you're not looking. This is huge, and most men never catch it. When a woman is genuinely thinking about you, she becomes observant. She studies you, your body language, who you talk to, how you interact with others, how you carry yourself when you're not performing for her. You might notice her glancing at you in group settings. You might feel her eyes on you across the room. But here's the key detail. The second you make eye contact, she looks away. That instant look away isn't disinterest. That's being caught in the act. In the digital world, this shows up differently. She views your stories within minutes of you posting, but never reacts. She likes an old post from weeks ago by accident. She checks your profile repeatedly, thinking you won't notice. Why does this matter? Because attention is currency. Where her attention goes consistently, her emotions follow. And here's what most guys miss. If she's watching you quietly, she's also imagining you privately. Conversations that never happened, scenarios that don't exist yet, moments she hasn't experienced but already feels emotionally. That's not casual curiosity, that's mental attachment. Sign number 2. She remembers small details but pretends she doesn't. This is subtle but powerful. She casually brings up something you said weeks ago. She references a detail you forgot you even shared. She remembers your habits, preferences, or patterns without making a big deal out of it. And when you notice, she downplays it. Oh, I just remembered. Yeah, you mentioned it once. It's not a big deal, but it is a big deal. People don't remember small details about people they don't think about. Memory is emotional. The brain prioritizes what matters. If she remembers the little things while acting emotionally distant, that's a contradiction. And contradictions reveal internal conflict. She's emotionally engaged, but trying not to show it. We'll continue with the remaining signs, including the one that proves obsession beyond doubt. So if this is hitting close to home, subscribe to the channel now because what comes next will change how you read her behavior forever. Details you mentioned weeks ago. Now this is where the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. You casually mention you have a presentation coming up. 2 weeks later, she asks how it went. You tell her once, just once, about your favorite band. Weeks later, she brings them up in conversation like it's nothing. You mention a food you don't like, a random childhood story, your sister's name, a scar from a bike accident you laughed off in passing, and she remembers. You might think, okay, she's just being polite. She has a good memory. No. Listen very carefully to what I'm about to tell you. Most people forget nearly 90% of what you tell them within 24 hours. That's not opinion. That's how human memory works. Our brains delete information that doesn't matter to us emotionally. But when someone is thinking about you constantly, something very different happens. They replay conversations. They mentally revisit moments. They store details without trying. They build a mental file on you. And here's the wild part. She probably doesn't even realize she's doing it. Her brain is subconsciously prioritizing information about you over everything else. If she remembers that you hate olives, that your sister's name is Emma, that you once mentioned feeling nervous before big moments, that's not coincidence. That's emotional focus. She's been thinking about you far more than she's letting on. But sign number 3 is where things start becoming visible to the outside world. Sign number 3, her friends know about you, and they act strange around you. This one is a dead giveaway. One of the most reliable signs there is, her friends mention you casually. They exchange looks when you're around. They tease her subtly when your name comes up. They smile in a way that feels knowing. Maybe one of them almost slips and says something like, "Oh, you're the guy from," and then suddenly stops. That moment, that's not an accident. Women talk to their friends about the people occupying space in their mind. That's how they process attraction. That's how they make sense of confusing emotions. If her friends know who you are without you having spent much time around them, it means you've been a frequent topic of conversation. She's asked them for advice about you. She's analyzed your texts with them. She's replayed moments with you in group chats. She's tried to understand why you affect her. You're living rent-free not just in her head, but in her group chat. And when her friends act differently around you, it's because they already have opinions. They're invested. They know something is happening, even if nothing has been said out loud. Now we're about to reach sign number 4. This is the big one, the one that confirms everything. But before that, if this video is already making you rethink someone specific, hit the like button now. It helps this channel reach people who need this clarity, and it tells me to keep going deeper. And make sure you subscribe, because this is where psychology meets real life. Now listen closely. Sign number 4. She initiates contact randomly, then disappears again. This is the sign that confuses men the most, and it's also the strongest indicator she's emotionally hooked. Here's how it usually happens. She texts you out of nowhere, something random, a meme, a question. This reminded me of you, something low pressure, almost casual. You respond, the conversation flows, the energy feels good. You think, okay, maybe she really is interested. And then silence. Days pass, maybe a week, and you're left wondering, what just happened? Did I say something wrong? But here's what's actually happening inside her mind. She reached out because the pressure built up. She couldn't stop thinking about you. The urge became stronger than her fear, but the moment she engaged, her defenses kicked in. Was that too obvious? Did I just give him power? What if he thinks I'm desperate? So she pulls back, not because she lost interest, but because she's trying to regain emotional control. In psychology, this is called approach avoidance conflict. She wants you, but she's scared of what that means, so she compromises. She reaches out just enough to stay present in your life, then withdraws before revealing too much. And here's the detail that proves obsession. The timing of her messages follows a pattern. She reaches out right when the silence feels dangerous to her, right when she worries you might forget about her, right when the emotional distance feels like it's slipping too far. If she wasn't thinking about you, she wouldn't track the gaps. She wouldn't care about staying relevant in your life, but she does because you're always there, in the background of her mind. Now let me show you the remaining signs. Sign number 5. She's subtly different with you than with everyone else. This one is quiet, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. With other people, she's relaxed, natural, predictable. With you, something shifts. She might be more guarded or laugh a little harder at your jokes. Her voice might change slightly. She fidgets more, touches her hair, breaks eye contact quicker. Most men misread this. They think nervousness means discomfort. It doesn't. These are stress responses, and stress only appears when someone matters. When someone genuinely doesn't care about you, their nervous system stays neutral. Flat energy. No fluctuation. It's the people who affect us emotionally who trigger these changes. And if she's more guarded around you than others, that's actually stronger than flirting, because walls are built for protection. People don't build walls around people who don't matter. Sign number 6, she tests you, and most men fail without realizing it. This one is critical. She might casually mention another guy to see if you get jealous. She cancels plans to see how you react. She suddenly goes cold just to observe your emotional response. Will you chase? Will you get upset? Will you stay calm? These aren't games for entertainment. They're unconscious evaluations. She's trying to find out if you're emotionally stable, if you can handle pressure, if you're different from the men who collapse when things feel uncertain. When a woman is seriously thinking about you, she needs to know you're solid, and testing is how she finds out. Which brings us to sign number 7, the one that reveals exactly what you should do next. I know this isn't easy. When you care, you want clarity. You want her to just say how she feels. But attraction doesn't work that way, especially for women protecting themselves from getting hurt. So pay attention, trust the signs, and most importantly, don't force the outcome. Because the man who can sit in uncertainty without crumbling, that's the man every woman is looking for. If this video helped you see things differently, comment aware, so I know you're paying attention to the real signals. And subscribe to the channel, because the next video will show you exactly how to turn her curiosity into action. Why silence affects her more than words. Why silence hurts more than insults. Why your absence becomes her inner tension. Why silence confuses, unsettles, and pulls her closer. Female Psychology Explained, without games. Stay tuned. She remembers your habits, preferences, or patterns without making a big deal out of it. And when you notice, she downplays it. Oh, I just remembered. Yeah, you mentioned it once. It's not a big deal, but it is a big deal. People don't remember small details about people they don't think about. Memory is emotional. The brain prioritizes what matters. If she remembers the little things while acting emotionally distant, that's a contradiction, and contradictions reveal internal conflict. She's emotionally engaged, but trying not to show it. We'll continue with the remaining signs, including the one that proves obsession beyond doubt. So if this is hitting close to home, subscribe to the channel now, because what comes next will change how you read her behavior forever.